Supriya now joins us. Supriya, welcome. We've got Rahul Gandhi coming out and congratulating candidate Murmu, but this is also where it's very clear that this presidential election has shown all that's wrong with the opposition strategy in dealing with the BJP. The BJP picked an Adivasi tribal woman from the east. The Congress and the opposition picked Yashwant, Sinha, a long-time BJP leader who criticized the Congress party at various occasions as your candidate. And even today, 104 MLAs cross-voting, 17 MPs cross-voting. What do you make of the mess the opposition finds itself in, Supriya?
No, first up, I do want to reassert that your crew did not reach. There was a communication error. I was very willing to join. In fact, I'm joining your rival channel at 9 p.m. exactly on this topic. I want to stay that up
Sure,
front.
I accept that. Thank you.
You know, 15th President of India, of course we'll get around to congratulating her, and why won't we? She is going to be my president as well. But we live in a democracy, and I think everybody has a right to contest every election, whether it's a Panchayat Raj election or it's an election to India's highest office, being the first citizen. We are happy that she comes from a humble background. We are very happy there'll be a tribal woman representation in Rashtrapati Bhavan, but that doesn't stop us from opposing an ideology that the BJP stands for. And because she is also going to be my president, I do urge her that she's really going to look into how this government is systematically going about annihilating the rights of life and livelihood for tribals. The bill that's lying in Parliament, which will need her consent, I hope as India's first tribal woman president, she is going to put an end to what the BJP is trying to do. I was also hearing while you were discussing the opposition, and yes, there has been cross-voting. I'm not going to deny that. I don't think the opposition came around on this one as one single unit. I think it has to do with the fact that she comes from a tribal background. There are tribal chief ministers who would have obviously gone ahead and supported her. Now, to your question, why are we supporting Yashwant Sinha, who's criticized the Congress on multiple occasions? He's been a BJP finance minister, and he's calling them out every single day. Because every sane individual in this country, if you believe in India more than you believe in the power of the two gentlemen trying to run this country, you will call them out. And that's what Yashwant Sinha is doing. I think every force in this country which wants to oppose the ideology that the Bharatiya Janata Party and the RSS wants to stand for has to come together. We could not be successful this time around, but we live in optimism.
No, but take for example the fact that the Trinamool Congress has said this evening that they will not back Margaret Alva for vice president. You simply don't forget trying to fight the 2024 elections as one united opposition. You can't even come together and deciding who will be the vice presidential candidate. The TMC doesn't want to have any truck with the Congress on this.
No, Rahul. I think we need to step back and realize that a 2024 general election is very different from a presidential campaign, or for that matter, the vice president's election. A vice president's election, there's very little at stake, so to say. But a 2024 general election is going to be fought all across the country, and there are glaring issues that we want to fight together, against the Modi government. I also want to make one thing very clear here. There was something that was being talked about symbolism before I joined in. I want to understand, we had a Dalit president, Shri Nath Kovind ji, who's now demitting office. How well off are Dalits after he had taken over than before? Dalits in this country are subject to the most gruesome atrocities under his nose, under this government's regime. So let's not get carried away with symbolism. At a time, we were trying to elect Droupadi Murmu ji to India's highest office. A tribal woman was being burnt alive in Madhya Pradesh. Tribals were being beaten up. They were denied their life to life and livelihood. So let's not get carried away with symbolism, because symbolism carries your vote so far, no further. How are Dalits today better off after 5 years of Shri Kovind? I would want to ask.
Okay, let me put that question to Aparajita Sarangi. How are Dalits better off because of the presence of a Dalit as president? How will tribals benefit because of the presence of a tribal as a president? You know, but the point that Rahul Srivastava was making was very important, Supriya, which is that this helps, for example, mobilize in parts of Orissa where the BJP hasn't done well, political momentum in favor of the BJP. It's also got the likes of Mamata Banerjee having to announce a tribal day because they realize the power of this idea. You're dismissing that symbolism, but in that political symbolism is the BJP believes lies its future.
Have I lost you? Is it my turn to speak?
Yes, you can, Supriya. I was
Okay,
talking about
okay.
how everyone now
I got the
wants to
question.
be pro-tribals because of that symbolism, and you're dismissing the power of that symbolism.
Yeah, no, everybody wants to be pro-tribals only in the name of being in pro-tribals, because this government, through the Forest Rights Act and the amendments that are being made to it, are even leaving final approvals that will affect the ease of living for tribals, for Adivasis and Dalits in forest areas. So let's not talk about who's trying to do what about tribals. There is a August 2009 amendment, there's a 2006 Forest Rights Act, which the government needs to adhere to. The reason why I say about symbolism is, if you think Srimati Droupadi Murmu's election is going to get the BJP's boat sailing in Odisha, then we've got something other coming on our hands, quite frankly. I mean, politics is, yes, symbolism to an extent, but it doesn't carry you any further. Are you telling me if they had elected a Tamil president, the BJP would have won Tamil Nadu? Not in this lifetime for them. Not in this lifetime can they win Kerala. Not in this lifetime can they win
At
some
this
of these
moment,
states down south.
Supriya, it's
So,
a fact of politics that there is a brighter chance of the BJP doing better in Tamil Nadu or in a state like Telangana than the Congress. In the
I'm
way that
actually quite surprised. I'm quite surprised that you really believe that the BJP can do better than us in Tamil Nadu or
without
in
the
Telangana.
DMK, take the DMK's crutches away, take the DMK's crutches away, take the DMK's crutches away, most Congress leaders would struggle to save their deposits.
I object to the word crutches first of all, and I want to put it up front. I object to the word crutches. There are no crutches in politics, there are allies. Just like we ally with some people, the BJP allies with the others. They've done it in,
Let me get Rahul Srivastava in on this. Rahul, okay, just one second. Let me get another perspective on this. Supriya Srinath says that there's a brighter chance of the Congress coming back to power on its own in Tamil Nadu than the BJP doing better, or even a state like Telangana where the BJP is clearly the principal opponent. No, one second. Let's hear from Rahul. I'm coming.
Rahul, I think
you said that.
No problem. No, I did not. Rewind. What did I say? Do not call allies crutches. Are you telling me that the BJP can do better than the Congress in Tamil Nadu? It's a huge no. Are you telling me
No,
that the
I'm not
BJP
saying
can
that.
do
I'm
better
saying
than us in
going
Telangana?
forward,
No. So don't
the
put words in my
BJP's
mouth
graph
that you may want to
in
talk
most
about.
states, given the way that the Congress is at this moment, the BJP's graph is likely in states like
If
Telangana.
that's your ground report, then you need to review your ground report.
Well, I'm only reporting on the
both
elections
Tamil Nadu
as
and
I have no personal axe to grind against anyone. I'm only reporting on the elections as they've been happening over the last several years and the trend as it shows at this moment.
I
And
don't think you're getting the
probabilistically,
correct ground report from either Telangana
let's
or
listen to
Tamil Nadu.
Rahul Srivastava. Rahul, yes.
See, Rahul, I think there are troubles for the BJP in a state like Tamil Nadu because of the Brahminical and several other issues that the BJP had. But there is an example called West Bengal where 10 years ago the BJP was nowhere. But you have a BJP which is now the principal opposition and you have virtually no Congress inside the assembly. Rahul, the point here is when we are talking about symbolism, Rahul, we have Congress made three presidents in fact who were from the minority. Do you think it was done because that nothing will happen to the minorities? The Congress brought Mr. K.R. Narayanan as the President of India. He was a Dalit. You mean to say that Congress's effort never did anything for the country? Congress brought in Pratibha Patil ji as the first woman President of India. You mean to say that after that the lot of the women never improved? I think we should not weigh on the scales
So give me
what
data.
people got with what the symbolism was. I think if Zakir Hussain, Zail Singh, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, Pratibha Patil and
Rahul,
K.R.
can I please
Narayanan were
come in?
strong symbols to the people of this country that constitution works in this country.
No, but
I think Droupadi
I don't
Murmu
see
is
why
also
Supriya
a
is
very
in denial.
significant symbol.
Symbolism is an important part of politics. It's a reality. Why deny the obvious? You've done it in the past. What was Pratibha Patil? She wasn't the best person suited to be president. You picked her for certain reasons.
I don't think it's either right up to you or for me to comment on people who've been the first citizens of this country, whether they were right or not. Just like I'm not going to make my comments about Droupadi Murmu ji now that she's elected. But I do want to say, I'm not denying symbolism. All that I'm saying is symbolism takes you this far and no further. I mean, if you are telling me that the lot of tribals are going to now stand with Mr. Modi, then we really are, talking about two different parallel universes that we are perhaps traversing. Absolutely, symbolism is important in politics, and a lot. It's a big deal.